Right, well, I've got some bad news, chaps. It's over. It's never been more over.
So over?
It's so over for Nigel Farage. They have decided that they can't stop him on the facts, obviously, on the popular policies, on Ukraine even though I think that was something of a slight tactical mistake, and in fact, he had framed it incorrectly. It's not, he shouldn't have said, we provoke Putin. What he should have said is, Putin's reaction was predictable. As in, because then he's not within sort of Putin's frame. He doesn't sound like on his side, right? But even then, that didn't destroy reform. That didn't destroy Farage's momentum. But it has now finally happened because the media and the politicians have come out and been like, you know what? Nigel Farage is a racist. Oh, well, there we go. It's just over. I mean, don't worry about it. Like
that's the end, isn't it? When they say that,
exactly. I mean, look at 1,000 people in Wareside at lunchtime to see Nigel Farage. No, it's over. Guys, do you not know he's a racist? LBC have called him a racist. Well, there we go. And they were like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. I'm going home.
Have you included in this the our old pal Narinda? Her tweet about it. Oh my god, a picture of Nigel Farage waving at a crowd.
I did see that.
Do you know who else waved at crowds in photographs? Oh dear lord.
But I did reply to her saying, well, look, he was in a plane crash. Maybe, maybe he's having trouble with his motion or something. I don't know.
Or maybe he was just waving.
Yeah, maybe he was just waving.
Were there actual pyrotechnics on that stage then?
There were. We'll get into it in a second.
Okay, all right.
So, he was making his WWE entrance Goldberg style.
Before we find out just how over it is for Nigel Farage, on the 4th of July on Rumble and Lotus.com, we're going to be doing a 0 seats election stream where we're going to be going all night. We're going to have loads of great guests and sign up with code 0 seats for 50% off for 3 months for a gold subscription and send us gold video comments. So literally get your camera out, record a message, and we'll play them on the stream. It's going to be great. Anyway, yeah, so Nigel Farage just out mad, like loads of people.
I'd like to come in on a zip line.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, there are indeed a huge whistling crowd, pyrotechnics. He's pulling out the stops. And again, this was lunchtime on a Thursday afternoon, or like 11 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. Like this is a huge crowd. Like this is unusual for politicians to be able to draw large crowds in Britain. It's not like America with Trump, especially in northeastern seaside towns.
We simply don't have political rallies where there's actual enthusiasm.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen one in my life. In all honesty, that's not exaggeration.
I know. Like Tony Blair didn't even do that sort of
stuff. Right. Yeah.
The last one,
maybe the Fabian Society might be.
Yeah, maybe.
But just normal people.
Yeah.
Just normal working class, middle class people.
Yeah. This
never seen it before.
Doesn't happen.
I will just say one thing, because what have we got tagged in this? Who have we got tagged? We've got old Boomer Tice.
Oh yeah.
I will say, if Nigel really wants to win over my complete trust, drop Tice.
He can't. Tice is funding the party.
I know, but I wish upon the stars, please drop Boomer Tice.
I don't think
Ticey.
I don't think Tice is evil. I think he's fairly well-meaning. I just think he's very much a creature of the Westminster bubble, right? And so, I think
one of the things that you mentioned with the whole Ukraine thing that Farage was talking about, it was the thing for me as a young fighting age male is that it gives me some hope that if Farage gets into any position of influence, he doesn't want to send me off to die, unlike all of the other major Western leaders.
You don't want to die for pride parades in Ukraine.
No. Whereas,
what about gay rights in Uganda, Harry?
Whereas Boomer Tice whispering in his ear is maybe going, send them, Nigel, kill them all.
I'm sure you won't. I think we'll argue that you're in a protected profession.
So I don't want my mates to go and die either.
Well, they can be in our protect. I'll hire a lot of people.
Oh, there you go. That's all.
We need to liberate Crimea so they can have gay marriage.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is,
of course.
It's important.
David Cameron's pitch there. Literally.
If we don't do that, Poland will fall to Russian tank divisions. That's the next thing.
I mean, we already let that happen.
Anyway, so a poll came out yesterday from MRP that had Reform winning 18 seats, which is pretty great, considering they started with, well, he might get Clacton. It's like, okay, well, he might get 3 or 4 seats, okay. Well, he might get 18 seats. It's like, okay, well, calm down. There was actually another one that had them much higher, on something like 60 seats, but I think that's optimistic.
My prediction right now is 7.
Yeah. I mean, well, just honestly, for me, Farage being an MP,
even getting one seat is a big win. Yeah.
7 seats, that'd be nice. As he points out, it's a beachhead in Parliament. That's good.
Yeah.
18 seats, okay, that's pretty good.
Starting to get there.
We've still got 6 days or so, who knows where this goes. But yeah, so you can see that Farage is still going up. Things are still going well. Nothing else has yet stopped him. And so obviously he's a racist. Actually, it wasn't Farage himself that was the racist. It was someone else in his party or someone canvassing for him.
Found evidence of anti-migrant rhetoric. Oh no, not that thing that's in their manifesto.
Not in the Reform Party or the Labour Party or the Conservative Party or the SDP or the English Democrats. I mean, it's not in, say, the Greens or the Lib Dems, obviously, or the SNP. But literally every sensible party in this country that has a real shot of doing very well is anti-migrant at this point. Because migration has been ridiculous in Britain, and I'm not going to relitigate it. But the point is, anti-migrant rhetoric and homophobia. Oh my goodness, we better watch this. It's important.
We've gone undercover inside Nigel Farage's Reform UK campaign in Clacton, and we recorded extremely offensive language, including this canvasser saying people seeking asylum should be shot.
Get the young folks there, with guns on the beach, target practice, to show them.
Racist language was repeated.
Right, so
racist.
Just want to be clear. We don't think that asylum seekers should be shot. They should just be sent home. As in, they've got into boats illegally in France, a safe country. They've broken into our country, and rather than the Royal Navy or the Coast Guard picking them up and bringing them here, they should pick them up and take them back. It's literally as simple.
I will say, without condoning, that from conversations that I've had, the sentiment of put sea mines in the channel.
Why isn't the Navy dealing with this yet?
Isn't exactly fringe.
Yeah,
without condoning.
No, that's totally true. We obviously we don't condone the idea that we should just be shooting people coming across. But as you said, it's not a fringe belief. Lots of people around the country.
Well, I tweeted we should deploy HMS Prince of Wales, our aircraft carrier, and 4-2 Commando, Royal Marines.
Sure.
Didn't say anything about machine gunning anybody. We'll just take their little dinghies around, drop them on the French beach.
Yeah, we should just literally by force just drop
the
them.
Marines are basically there to make sure no one on our side gets hurt. Take the RNLI out of the equation. If the French Navy try and stop us, then maybe 4-2 Commando can lock and load.
Yeah, but even then, that's not shooting the asylum seekers.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's a war with France.
But someone's got to do the Father Ted meme. I hear you're a racist now. It's got to happen. Someone must have already done it.
Yeah, and so let's carry on for a bit, actually.
Repeatedly used. Here, directed at the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak.
We got it. What's good, is it?
And homophobia.
Well, hang on a second. Rishi Sunak's an Indian.
Yeah, right.
That's the ultimate insult for him, then, isn't it?
Yeah, even more offensive.
Yeah, but let's be fair. Rishi Sunak is useless. But yes, he used rude language to express that. Fascinating. I'm sure the voters in Clacton are all like, well, I can't believe he insulted the installed Indian Prime Minister of this country who we didn't vote for. Unbelievable. That's my vote for reform out. Nonsense. Let's go.
Here, from Farage's inner circle.
You see that degenerate flag on the front bonnet? What the old Bill doing promoting that crap?
Right. So,
I mean, that's
pride
fair.
flags on cop cars. That's not homophobia. That's not wrong either. They should be politically neutral. They shouldn't have those on. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Justice should be blind.
100%. It should not be politicized. But as you can see, she's really excited that we've revealed offensive stuff. Let's watch.
We've previously revealed offensive, racist comments made by some Reform candidates. They've since been dropped by the party. Farage's campaign in Clacton carefully manages media access, so we wanted to see what it's really like at the grassroots.
Right, so they snuck in with a plant and recorded a guy saying the sort of things you'd hear in a pub. Okay. Fine.
Saying things that the Reform voters are already thinking.
Just offensive as well. Well, I find her eyebrows offensive.
Yeah, but I don't care what she finds offensive.
Yeah,
and the thing is, again, I've said this before. You'd be like, "Hey, look, this guy said this thing. Isn't that bad?" And these guys say, "Oh, look, that guy said that thing." There's two sides to every story on this.
Well, you're saying the Streisand effect.
Not even just the Streisand effect. More when you say, look, I'm a far left, basically a commie. Isn't this thing bad? And they're holding up literally the most base thing you've ever read.
Right, yeah.
It's like, well,
I was thinking that same thing.
only if you think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are lots of boomers in Clacton who do not think actually that's a bad thing, and who actually do kind of agree with the sentiments being expressed. So just saying, looking forward to the next Clacton poll.
Well, yeah, I mean, from the last comment, I certainly don't like police cars driving around brandishing a flag that says, that they're happy to support degenerate pride parades in the middle of the street where children can go up to half-naked men attempting to sodomize one another. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want any support of that whatsoever from the police.
Yeah, exactly. And, even if you say, well, it's just because you don't like the thing, okay, maybe. But also, there's a more objective complaint, which is the police are promoting a political position, and they should not be promoting a political position. So even if it wasn't just that I don't like the flag, they shouldn't have any flag on them, apart from the British flag, I suppose. But anyway, so who was the chap? It was a chap called Andrew Parker, and people very quickly noticed that he is an actor. Interesting. Now, I just want to be clear, that doesn't mean he can't be a legit member of Reform. But it does look a bit sus, since Channel 4 have already snuck in one person. What prevents them from sneaking in two people? Well, apparently not much, right? So, again, looks very, very sus. And just to go back to the guy's previous... So I think it's worth listening to the guy's accent when he's talking, because this is interesting.
This canvasser saying people seeking asylum should be shot.
Get the young recruits there, with guns on the beach, target practice.
Right, so he sounds like a London Cockney gangster or something, right? He's got a very rough working class accent, just very interesting.
Or Essex. I mean, Clacton is in Essex.
Yeah. But he's got,
isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's got that kind of southeastern lad accent, it's like boys accent sort of, right? Again, it's particular to the region. Anyone who knows anything about accents in the UK will know it's particular to the region. And so here is his acting reel, actually, which is quite interesting.
Hello, my name's Andrew Park. I'm an extremely experienced actor. I've been in plenty of films. I've worked with quite a lot of A-listed actors. I've done a lot in Pinewood Studios, a lot in Warner Brothers. I've also been flown over to Serbia to be involved as a character in a video game. I've done Virgin Train adverts and many more.
So he doesn't exactly sound the same. So it sounds like he's putting on an accent, whichever way.
I mean, he does sound the same to me. It sounds like the difference between a man talking at his camera in a more measured way and a man out in public trying to project his voice, speaking more forcefully. I'm sorry, this seems seems way too conspiratorial to me. There is nothing stopping it from this guy, being an actor who is also has political interests and an ideology and deciding to work with Reform. This seems a bit far-fetched to me.
I'm not saying that I believe or disbelieve this or anything like that. This is the narrative that people are promoting around this. And I just want to make this clear. This is just what people are saying. And I don't know. I don't know either way. I mean, Farage himself has been saying things like this. So I thought it was worth pointing out. But you might, you're totally...
So Nigel's saying it doesn't add up.
Yeah. We learn he's an actor. His own website says he's well-spoken, but what he Claxton was rough speaking. The whole episode doesn't add up. I don't know, right? There is no conclusive evidence either way. But Charlie Peters from GB News said that he'd spoken to Andrew Parker and said these theories are total rubbish. He claims he was goaded by the undercover reporter and he was making horrible comments in a jokey atmosphere, but absolutely rejects any suggestion that he was a paid actor set up to make Reform look bad. Entirely possible. Who knows?
And from my perspective, from what I can see, Farage just seems to be trying to basically get some distance between himself and this guy by fanning this theory. But to me, Reform has already been caught out platforming people who have, not to say anything bad of my current
about
company.
the Scots.
I know, platforming insensitive people who would dare to say nasty things that upset shitlib journalists. So, I mean, it doesn't seem anywhere out of the realm of possibility that this guy is legit, and I feel that this is a real reach that Nigel is trying to push. That he's nothing to do. Oh, it must have been a setup. I mean, come on, just own it. Just own it. The same way that Nigel, to be fair to him, owned when that guy a few weeks ago was caught out having said in 2022 that we should have accepted Hitler's peace offers in World War II. Nigel has disavowed and said he vehemently disagrees, but that people should have the right to say their opinions. So this just feels clumsy to me.
I agree. Anyway, so there we go. So Farage was door-stopped on his campaign about this, and this was his response.
Would you apologise to the Prime Minister for the appalling racist way that one of your campaigners spoke about Rishi Sunak?
So racist.
Do you apologise to the Prime Minister?
It was horrible.
That's not quite an apology, is it?
You can't, how much further can I go? Of course this is an apology. It was horrible. I don't know who this bloke is. Somebody I met once years ago. I mean, awful, horrible. Almost as bad as the Labour candidate in Clacton and his slurs on white people. Have you covered that?
I'm here to focus.
No.
on...
Have you?
That's a no. No, of course not.
Yeah.
Why would you cover that?
Cover the Labour. No.
We scrutinise all of the parties and their campaigns. But if you are as appalled by this as you say you are, why are you trying to deflect? Why are you trying to deflect
No,
if
I'm
you
not.
are as...
If I was in any sort of position like this, I would just simply not speak to any corporate mainstream media. Do you remember one time Trump was taking some questions and he was like, well, who are you from? And they say the BBC or they say CNN. He's just like, fake news. Yeah. You're fake news.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't speak to them. I would view them as an enemy, the enemy.
They are the enemy. And I think Farage understands that. And the thing is, I mean, he's fairly well diffused it. He's like, oh, that was horrible. Don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, he's a master. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just saying if it were me, I'd be like, no, I'm not talking to you. Get away from me.
But like,
I'll do a podcast I'll talk about it. Wait for that to come out. No, I'm not going to answer your question while you hassle me in a car park.
But why is she going any further with it? So do you apologize? Yeah. Now what? Okay. Well, I mean, I want to keep pressing the point to make sure that you know that I think you're a racist. But Farage does well here and goes on the attack because I mean he is completely right about the Labour candidate that they decided to run in Clacton. Genuinely seems to hate white people and seems to kind of want to be fighting a kind of race war. And it's hard to see.
His favourite drink is white tears, isn't it? White man tears.
No, I mean, he literally says
his favourite drink. Oh, there you go.
He wants to drink the tears of white people. I mean, like this is directly from it, right? So the original post read, someone had posted, going into 2020, I'm going to continue to be vocal about how to tackle racism and the fact that I drink white man tears on a regular basis, to which their candidate, which is Javon Owusu Nepal, said, my favourite drink. And it's like, oh, that's lovely. Thanks. Javon, sorry.
Yeah, I did a
That's
tweet
the
saying
gratitude.
that's classic Labour for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they're going to give you a kid that's in his 20s, who I believe is gay, not that matters, but is a foreign extraction, whether it's second generation or whatever, and obviously hates
has a real
our
problem with white
values,
people.
our race and our values. He despises. So isn't that classic Labour? And that's the person we're going as your you need to vote for.
But that's the point, right? So Channel 4 have to go, we're going to sneak people into Farage's thing. Oh, look, I've got him saying something racist. The Labour candidate just comes out, I hate white people, by the way. Love drinking their tears. Now what? And the Channel 4 are just crickets. It's like, sorry, like they're openly racist. It's like, Reform are secretly racist. So which one's worse? By your own standard, I mean, this guy's got some wild takes, actually. This one bothers me so much. He says, I feel like I'm doing this for every black and brown person in the country, running against Nigel Farage. It's like, okay, so against who, though? You're running standing for every black and brown person in the country against the white people of Clacton? Like, you've
the white people of the country.
Well, possibly, but I mean, he's running in Clacton, so let's narrow it a bit. Okay, so you've got the 96% white English Clacton, and you're like, I'm here running for every black and brown person in the country. So what, against the whites of Clacton, you've decided to put yourself up as a representative of the Browns, right? That's why is this a race issue? Why can't you be like, I'm Labour versus Conservative, right? Because they have race on their mind. That's the way he looks at things. He said, I drink white tears. I don't like white people. I'm running for the brown people against the whites of Clacton. So, okay, how is this not racism? Like, I hate being like, that's racist. But it can't be considered to be anything else. And yet, this guy on Nigel Farage, it wasn't even Farage who said it, guy on Farage's campaign says this.
Could they not find a 20-something commie of colour LGBTQ who's disabled, though? He looks able-bodied.
We've not ticked all the check boxes. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, a bit ableist, really.
Yeah, good point. But and so Farage, of course, pointed this out, being like, well, hang on a second, this guy's a bit racist, isn't he? But they don't care about that. But Keir Starmer had a response to this, which I thought was interesting. He said, well, I'm shocked by the clearly racist comments made by these campaigners, but refuses to call Nigel Farage himself a racist. And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, have you been listening to Keir Starmer talking recently? He's lost the support of the Bangladeshi community because he's like, yeah, the Bangladeshis are going back.
Yeah.
It's okay. So interesting. But he hasn't disavowed his own candidate, being like, I drink white man tears and stuff like that. He didn't distance himself from that. No one's like, Keir, your candidate in Clacton is saying literally he hates white people. Are you going to stand by that? Keir wasn't even asked. Hasn't had to disavow it, right? But what's interesting is not necessarily what people say, it's what people do. Because they've decided Clacton's a lost cause. We decided to put an anti-white racist up against Nigel Farage at this time and in this place, and for some reason, it's going down like a lead balloon. Apparently, Labour just think that Clacton is unwinnable for them at this point, which is good and based, because it should be. He has actually been seconded to the West Midlands. They've
exiled him.
It's not. I mean, I've never heard of such a practice.
Exiled him.
But he's not campaign. They can't move him because it's all locked in now. So even if he dies or something, he's still on the ballot, right? But they're just like, okay, well, there's just no point having him wander around Clacton for all these people going, no, I'm not going to cry for you, mate. You're going thirsty today. Sorry, dehydration is going to be your problem, not mine.
Pray for Joven.
Yeah.
Remember Joven.
So he's been sent to the West Midlands to presumably campaign
to enact his penance.
Yeah, to post leaflets in what I assume is a more diverse constituency. But yeah, they do say that Labour regard Clacton as an unwinnable seat, with the party gaining just 15% of the vote in 2019. So yeah, I guess they were just throwing him to the wolves or something. Someone's got to sit there opposite Farage and get trounced. So good for them. But I think the final thing is, well, okay, you've outed Farage and his team as a racist. Doesn't go down well on the London dinner circuit. Tice is red in the cheeks. But how do the voters in Clacton feel about it? Well, Politics Joe went there, and I mean, let's just watch this chap.
I'm an Englishman in England, and I don't feel like I'm an Englishman in England. Let's have it right, and I'm not afraid to say so.
What do you feel like?
I'm fed up with it. I feel like a foreigner in my own country. That's what I feel like. And do you think that's fair?
Tell me why. Why do you feel that way?
Well, because we're surrounded by foreigners. That's why.
Here?
Not in Clacton. Why do you think everyone's moving out of London to move to seaside towns? Do you think they want to? Trevor Phillips, the black politician, yeah? He said about people moving out. So is he racist? Is he wrong?
Do you think you've been left behind?
100%. Of course we have. And do you know what? I'm quite fair. I don't care who you are, but there needs to be fairness. Yeah, there's no fairness here. We've got no voice. And the Reform Party are giving people like us a voice. You've got half of East London living in Clacton. Why? If it was so good in East London, why aren't we all still living there? Why don't we all still live in East London if it's that great? Because it ain't great, is it?
Is it an immigration problem?
Well, you've been pushed out, ain't you? You've just been pushed out. It's, everyone knows. No one wants to talk about it. That's the problem.
I want to talk about it.
You get branded a racist. My wife's from Calcutta, yeah? I've got half-caste cousins. You're not politically correct. You've got to say mixed race. But I've been brought up brought up the old way, you know, mixed race people was called half caste, yeah? I've got black friends, I've got all sorts of friends. But as soon as you say anything, they want, and being called a racist now is so boring. I'll tell you that much, it's boring.
Perfect response.
That's a proper Essex geezer, eh?
It's perfect. It's just boring. You know, you're calling Nigel Farage a racist. Well, that's boring. You know, don't care. They don't care. And so there'll probably come a time where they probably won't vote for someone who hasn't been called a racist by you because they know that means they're opposed to you.
Because this is my neck of the woods, really. I grew up in Havering. Spent nearly all my life in Havering, which is in between London and Clacton, more or less. Not quite exactly, but anyway, Essex.
Yeah.
So I know Essex. I know the exodus from the East End of London out into Kent and Essex and places. And everything he said is exactly, honestly true.
Yeah.
That's just real.
100%.
So yeah, that's the voice of the real people.
I agree. And so this is why I really don't think calling Farage a racist is actually going to hurt his chances all that much.
Yeah, it's lost its power.
Hi folks, thanks for watching. This is a clip from a broader podcast called the Podcast of the Lotus Eaters. Is live 1 p.m. every day UK time, Monday to Friday. And if you want to support us, you can sign up for £5 a month, help us keep the lights on, because of course we're demonetized here, and go and watch Lads Hour. Lads Hour is one of my favourite shows because it's basically, and I guess there's no easy way to describe it, than calling it The View, but for men. We talk about whatever we want, but from an unabashedly masculine perspective, and we have a great time doing it. So come over and watch that.